Hey guys, and welcome to Car Guy 1999 Reviews. Today we have the 2016 Porsche Panamera 4. This is the car I've been looking at for replacing the Scat Pack and as a really good daily driver. And thank you to Porsche of Stratum for allowing me to come by and film. We'll head right in. We have Gillian with us here. So as we were saying, this is the previous gen facelift.
Correct.
And this one's the Panamera Edition, is that?
Yeah, it just gave you a couple of extra things, like sunroof, heated ventilated seats as well, just a couple of creature comfort packages.
And as we were noticing, this is a very luxury build.
Very luxury.
So, extended leather, everything. Really, really nice build.
Heated seats, ventilated seats.
Which was a big deal back in 2016.
Very big deal.
You know, it's just my luck. It always
gets
works
busy.
out. That's like last week I was here when Trump was in town, and 101 was a mess.
Oh yeah, that must have been a complete mess, especially with Trump in town.
Because I think it was either Pence that came through in Portsmouth and met Trump in Manchester, but I was following the parade all the way down 101.
Oh, you were behind all that?
Yeah. That was like the first car in line. Even for a dated PDK, it's really good.
It's pretty good, especially with the heavy car as well too.
Oh yeah. Now if there is excess wind noise, it is very windy today, so that only amplifies it, unfortunately. Other than that though, it's a really quiet cabin. It's really refined. It's very nimble, especially for not being an S. The steering has a really nice weight to it without being stupid heavy, you know, kind of like some sports cars just make the steering heavy because they can. Porsche is very good about not doing that, making sure it's based on feel rather than just being heavy.
Yeah. Porsche is very well known for their handling.
Oh yeah. They're definitely one of, if not the best handling cars I've driven. The only car that's come close to the GT3 RS that I drove is a Performante, but it doesn't handle as well as the GT3 RS.
Performante is nice though.
It is. I cannot deny that.
That's probably the only Lamborghini I could consider.
It's really one of the only Lamborghinis I've found that handles really well. Maybe the Huracan, but the Aventador is way too heavy. The Gallardo, yeah, same, and that's the issue with the Gallardo. It's just a heavy car. They're extremely tail happy and they're difficult to place. Because I've autocrossed them a couple times with Dream Drive Exotics, and they're just impossible to place around. You just kind of throw them and hope they go.
Yeah.
But I love, I don't know, it might be the old soul in me, but I love tan interiors.
Full tan too.
This is beautiful.
Not a single black piece of leather in here at all. It's full tan interior.
It's a really nice build.
Yeah, this is actually the full leather too, so everywhere you look, there's no leather at all.
That has squishy squish.
Full leather all the way around.
That's
from your
leather.
handles
That's squishy. Only thing that's not leather in here, I think, is the headliner.
Yeah. Which you can get at leather.
What's that option cost?
Really expensive. I like the Alcantara lining though. So the Alcantara, when you have it on there, when you're that looks really good.
I'm personally not a fan of Alcantara just because of the wear aspect of it.
Yeah.
However, with headliner, I mean, I don't know a lot of people that go
That's what I'm saying.
all day.
I think it's perfect if you had it on the headliner.
Exactly.
But if you had it on the steering wheel, I wouldn't really approve too much. But
yeah, because I drove an E63S that had leather on the top and bottom of the wheel, Alcantara on the sides. And I'm like,
You're good on my end.
okay. Now, could you get in this year a Panamera 4 with the sports exhaust?
With the sport exhaust, yes, you can.
Nice.
So, when you go to the 4S, the sport exhaust for 16 facelift is standard.
Ooh.
When you go to the 4S.
Yeah, but those demand a premium.
Oh, yes. Those will definitely hold their value.
Oh, absolutely.
You go to a 4S and then you go to a GTS, they will definitely hold their value. Especially for the facelift 16.
Yeah.
And don't even talk about turbos, because those are just...
Those are up there, and they stay up there.
Yeah. In my opinion, I'd switch over to a 2017 turbo if I was already at that point.
Yep.
The price range is
Right about the same.
right about the same. And it's the same engine. V8 twin turbos. It's going to be the same engine. Still the same engine, 2020 as well, too.
Wow. But yeah, honestly, you put some all seasons on this thing and you're set.
Oh, you're set. Oh, I forgot, there are summer tires on these cars right now. Because you do have the upgraded 21-inch turbo wheels on these cars.
I noticed the wheels were a little bit different.
Yeah, these are actually the wheels that you'll see on Panamera turbos. Some guy paid an extra building this car out. He really did want to make it look like a luxury car.
And it does, especially the blue with the turbo wheels and the full leather inside.
Yeah, he did a pretty good
And I love the black. That really sets it off.
Yeah.
I saw one Panamera online that had, I think, this color blue with that color inside. And I'm like, it almost reminds me of like the RF Miata has the outside color up here. The Beetles did it.
Yeah. You can get that as an option. I've seen that in a couple 911s where you get a full exterior paint interior.
Yep.
Which is like, it was in a sapphire blue exterior. It had a sapphire blue interior. I was like, this is a little too much.
Yeah, imagine that with lizard green.
Oh.
Can you even get lizard green on a 911 Carrera?
Yeah, you can actually. They're now an option that you can get for it. Before you had to do a paint to sample when they released it on the GT3 RS.
Right.
But now you can get it on a 911 Carrera. It's probably the highest paying paint that you can get aside from paint to sample, but
Right.
paint to sample is gonna always be the most expensive.
So, I mean, we're sitting here at a traffic light. Can you kind of go into the paint to sample process a little bit?
So the paint to sample process is a process that comes from time to time for different models. So different part of the year, paint to sample will be available for that certain model. I believe right now paint to sample is available for Cayennes, and you can do any paint that Porsche ever created for any of their vehicles just for a premium cost, which typically costs more than 10 grand for paint. So you're looking, for a reference, I had a customer that did a graphite blue on a custom built 992 that's still incoming, and he paid around 13 grand for his paint.
Wow.
So,
But hey, if you're going to keep the car and you want it to be your car.
it makes it a unique statement, though.
Absolutely.
Very unique statement, because nobody else, unless somebody else paid 13 grand and went through the whole entire process, will have the same color as you.
Exactly. Now it has to be a Porsche color. Can you choose, like, I know some manufacturers, they are like, hey, if you want a Ferrari color on your car, you can do that. Is that something that Porsche offers at this moment?
I'm not too sure, but I've seen somebody get an Audi Nardo Gray on a GT3 RS before, so
that sounds really good.
it sounds really good. I think it sublets because Audi and Porsche are somewhat brothers.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if you can get a Ferrari red on a GT3 RS.
I mean, you pay enough money.
You can pay enough money for
anything.
So.
And that's what I love about Porsche. They're one of the only manufacturers that allows you to build your car. A lot of times, like I know with Kia, some of the more mainstream manufacturers, they lock options in packages.
Correct.
Whereas Porsche, they allow you to build the car how you want, the way you want. You know, if you want a Panamera 4 with all the sports options, you can do that. If you want a 4S with all the luxury options and none of the extra sports stuff, you can do that. It's a really good idea, and that's why I love Porsche so much.
Oh yeah. Porsche likes to be very exclusive with all of their things.
Exclusive and accessible, which is really a difficult mixture to get right.
It is, because BMWs and Mercedes, they make around 4,000 cars a day, when Porsche barely makes 500 a day. They're not mass producing these cars, but it's still pretty easy to acquire a Porsche for the right cause.
Exactly. I mean, you're taking a process, you know, of speccing your car as you want. That's really only found with the ad personam in Lamborghini, tailor-made by Ferrari. And, you know, you can get a car like, you know, the 911 GT3 RS for the equivalent cost of like a Huracan or whatever, and have it your spec.
Yeah. Porsches are really, really great all the way around, but the price points are still not up there when it comes to Ferraris and Lamborghinis.
Absolutely.
That's why they still make it pretty easy to acquire one.
Exactly, and that's why, you know, a lot of, like when the Corvair came out back in the 1960s, it was the poor man's Porsche.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those things? And honestly, I feel like almost anyone could get a Porsche if they stretched a little bit or looked in the used market, because 996s you can get for sub 20,000 now.
Oh yeah, and they'll drive really nice as well.
Except for the IMS bearings.
Except for the IMS bearings, yeah. Definitely gotta
which I know that was a big deal with 996s.
Yep.
I know it was heard about in 997s, not nearly as big as the 996s.
Yep.
And I don't think it's as big of an issue as everybody made it out to be. You know, you always hear about the issues when you think of how many 996s were made and how many actually went down.
Yeah. It did cause a big, huge scare when everybody,
absolutely.
When it was like when the new 996s came out, the first water-cooled 911.
Which was a big deal.
Which was a very big deal.
And people didn't like the Boxster looking so much like the 911.
With the bug headlights, it did.
What they call them, the fried egg headlights?
Yes, the fried eggs there, headlights. I personally liked it, especially on a 911 turbo. If I can get a 996 911 turbo, which did not have the IMS bearing case whatsoever.
Yep, because it was a totally different engine.
Totally different chassis with it as well too. I would definitely get one if I could.
And I've heard that the IMS bearing is only if you don't really drive the car hard.
Yeah, no, it is.
So if you just drive it the way a Porsche was built to do, you're set. You know, you can have all the fun in the world you want.
That's why most of the cases happen for cars that have been sitting for a while. It's
the garage queen. So I think Porsche may have intentionally did it to kind of defer that. You know, might have worked out that way.
They didn't like the way people were leaving the cars out there. But you know, Porsche controls the secondary market when it comes to their old 911s.
They do.
You don't know what's going to happen to a 911 in the next 10 years. They can either go...
Quick pull here.
Yeah, of course.
For the base engine, that is really good. It's a very torquey motor.
It is.
Has a great sound to it, very reminiscent of the flat sixes. And as we were talking about earlier, you can get a first gen pre-facelift for sub 30,000.
Yeah.
You know, with some miles on it, of course.
Yeah.
But I think even like Concours style ones are sub 40, which is absolutely astounding to me.
Yeah, and you can take it to your local dealership and they can do a CPO check on it and you can get a certification on it if it passes. And that's an extra 2 years unlimited mile warranty added onto your car.
So even if you bought a Panamera with 100,000 miles and did the CPO process, it would still be unlimited miles?
100,000 is the limit. So
100,000 is the limit, okay.
So actually, no, they just changed it. So it's 80,000 for a pre-bought car. 80,000 is the limit for CPOing a vehicle.
But even so, you know, because you can get a 50,000 mile Panamera for cheap money now.
It's got to pass the inspection, but if it was a good clean car and the last previous driver took good care of it, it could easily pass with flying colors.
Absolutely. And I mean, honestly, I would do a PPI on a car before I bought it anyway. So if there was any big issues that, you know, would probably make it fail the CPO process.
Yeah. I mean, so the PPI process is relatively the same as the CPO check process. The only thing that the CPO check does is that it looks through the maintenance plan. So it's just want to see if it's been caught up with the maintenance.
Okay.
A PPI just looks for, obviously,
hey, the wheel isn't coming off kind of thing.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. But the CPO check is exactly the same. Just a couple little extra things that needs to be done with. Porsche things that need to be done with.
Right. You know, kind of making sure that it's basically putting Porsche's seal of approval on it.
Yeah, and their assistance as well too, because it will now be covered by Porsche's warranty.
Nice, which is, as you said, 2-year unlimited mile.
Unlimited miles.
Or until 80,000.
Yep.
I mean, you put the transmission in automatic, it drives like a normal car.
Yeah, it does. Flick it to the left a little bit, take advantage of that PDK.
And then this also, I don't think I said in the video, has the optional sports wheel. So the base wheel is multi-function with paddles that you push away to upshift, pull towards you to downshift. Some people are complaining about those. I personally, after driving the 991,
it makes more sense.
Yeah.
It really does.
They're really intuitive to use, and I mean, once you get used to it, of course, it's just second nature.
It is. I mean, for people that actually take it on the track, they think it's more useful than a regular GT steering wheel, because you'd have the steering wheel turned all the way to the right, and you can use both sides of the steering wheel to downshift or upshift.
It's very reminiscent of what McLaren is doing with their paddles that are on a hinge.
Yep.
So you can push away or pull towards you.
Yeah, I saw that. So it's behind the steering wheel. So it's not physically on the steering wheel, correct?
Right. So it's like mounted to the steering column itself.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Actually, no. It might be on the wheel, just recessed away. So it's probably like here.
Yep.
Which I always laugh when I see videos of people driving Porsches on track, because the wiper controls are right there.
You just see their wipers just go off.
Yep. So if you like try to fat finger it, you know, it doesn't really work too well.
Yep. And that happened to me with I don't know if you've driven an Alfa Romero before, but
yes, I have. Actually, you guys have the Giulia here.
Yeah. So
and a Stelvio, I believe.
So, which is weird. The Stelvio has the paddle shifters. Our Giulia doesn't have the paddle shifters.
It's probably TI Sport. That's why.
Yeah. So it's just so big, and it's like it blocks me from my blinkers. I gotta like physically.
That's what I found with the Gallardo.
I've got to physically let go of the steering wheel to turn on the blinkers. Before I can just keep my thumb on the steering wheel and flicking it. I might have small fingers, but that's just my preference.
As we're pulling into the temporary dealership, and before you guys unveil your new remodeled location.
Very excited for that.
Absolutely, as am I. But thank you so much, Gillian, for allowing me to come by and drive this.
Thanks for letting me in the video.
Oh, you know you're always welcome. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and have a great day.